We're trying to figure that out. Said the friend wonders if the coach will have another opportunity at all. I don't think Bill Belichick will ever be a head coach again in the NFL, the friend said, unless it's for Jerry Jones. Dun, dun, dun. Brew, are you buying Bill Belichick could coach the Cowboys?
Yes, under one condition. You bring back Dak.
That's correct.
Why
would he want to go there?
I would want, if I've got my quarterback, right? Obviously, you're going to have CeeDee Lamb. The defense has already got good players and is good. But we know Belichick will take care of the defense. They'll be top of the league. And with Dak, yeah, I think it could work. Stephen Jones is good with personnel. That's a weakness, we might say, at least lately for Belichick, has been personnel decisions. Stephen Jones takes care of that. He's only going to be there 2-3 years, and it's Super Bowl or bust. So you got to keep Dak. Like, if they get rid of Dak, then I'm not even looking at Belichick because we're kind of rebuilding, I guess. But, yeah, I think it could work. Bill Parcells was there 4 years with Jerry Jones.
They had some success.
Right, and again, it's 2-3 years. So they might run out of, they might be at each other's throat after 3 years, but it could last for that long.
So I don't agree with this quote, by the way, that, Belichick, he's going to have no options, maybe Jerry Jones, and that's it. Because I think that this football season, remember how this past year, every team that had bad quarterback play, sometimes on this show, sometimes other shows, be like, could have had Lamar. And it was kind of true, kind of not true, but it was. Well, it will be true this year. Every team out there whose coach just bungles the new kickoff rules. It's just like, oh, my God, they got us again. Every coach that can't figure out the time score situation, it will be true when people are like, maybe should have at least, invited Belichick in for a meeting, picked his brain. And so I think Belichick's stock is only going to rise.
I agree.
I think that Belichick is going to be.
I'm iffy on that.
See, I think he is.
Because he hasn't been good these last few years.
So I right, which is why I think his stock's at an all-time low and will only rise.
Can I
think
tell you
that,
another thing? Sean Payton stock. Saints weren't good. Saints were mediocre after Drew Brees. Yeah. Got on TV. Right. You're in people's living rooms.
Exactly right.
And Bill Belichick at the podium, giving gruff answers. We're on to Cincinnati, furrowed brow. And the Bill Belichick we even saw on McAfee yesterday, smiling, cracking jokes. And once he starts to open up on this and this, and here's what you could do, some owner is going to fall in love with it.
And Bruce,
I think though, I kind of disagree. I mean, I'm on the fence about this, but the one thing I disagree with is Bill Belichick being on the Pat Mcafee Show is like sad, actually. It's like Bill Belichick is a grown man, a true adult, so to speak, one of the greatest head coaches of all time. And he's now like on the Pat Mcafee Show where they make fart jokes and curse every 5 seconds. And I have nothing against Pat McAfee Show, not at all, right? I'm not against fart jokes or cursing. I actually curse all the time. I just don't curse on this channel. So it's not like I'm, hoity-toity here, but it does seem like in the grand scheme of things, it's beneath him is I don't want to give the sense that, anyone's beneath anything, but it just doesn't seem to fit who a Bill Belichick is, what he represents, and it's just kind of I don't know, it's like the Queen of England or, Princess Diana back when she was alive, going on, a podcast with Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's a great interviewer and I'm a fan of his podcast, but it just seems I don't know, it just feels a little weird to me, quite honestly. And maybe that's me just holding on to more, dated ideals, but it just seems a little sad. And it's just kind of, when he said, I didn't see the clip, but I read the line where it's Bill Belichick says he's still, watching tape daily or whatever, film daily. And I'm just that's like Mike, that just sounds like Mike McCarthy, where he's I'm in the basement studying film every day and really, locking in. And it's okay, it feels sad to me. And I get what Nick is saying too, where, it's if the Eagles look real bad, they're going to be why the heck did you not kick the tires more on Bill Belichick? Why did you think Nick Sirianni was the guy. And so I think, yeah, there could be some teams that will be interested in Bill Belichick, but I just think he's on the wrong side of the ball at this point. They're talking about Dallas, and I'm going to let this clip play longer, but I don't see how Bill Belichick is what the Cowboys need to make them a Super Bowl capable team. I think Bill Belichick is a good coach and totally competent. Obviously, he failed spectacularly with the Patriots once Tom Brady left, but I would be curious to see how he does with a team that already has a competent roster, good weapons. I just don't know, though, if he is a huge difference maker in that regard. I don't know if he could elevate Dak Prescott's quarterback play enough. I think, could he improve a Josh Allen? Yes. Could he bestow some of the wisdom to Josh Allen that he did to, say, a Tom Brady? Talk some more sense into him and minimize some of the mistakes that Josh Allen makes? I think so, because that's what, that's part of what holds Josh Allen back, is some of the mistakes that he makes and just kind of the general philosophy that they use with Josh Allen. And again, I don't blame all of Josh Allen for this. And everyone knows at this point that I'm a huge proponent of an offensive head coach. But what makes Dak not good enough or not able or capable of being able to carry the Dallas Cowboys is not necessarily because of his mistakes or his inability to read the defenses or pre-snap reads or anything like that. It's that he's just fundamentally not good enough and not consistent enough. Dak Prescott is a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. So I'm not so sure that I see how he makes Dak Prescott a better quarterback. So I just think even if you get Bill Belichick, the defense will be largely the same because the defense has been great. And you can make the argument that they'll be better in the playoffs, I suppose. But their defense already has been great. It's been their offense that has not been great. And I'm just not so sure how Bill Belichick fixes that. So I'm not seeing where the Cowboys and Bill Belichick is a match made in heaven, quite honestly.
Just to buttress your point, I think that any team that has its offensive talent in place that doesn't love their head coach, Belichick should be their first call. Yep. Because he will, and so the Cowboys, if they were to keep Dak, answer all, check all those boxes. So I agree with you entirely on that. I think it's a more than viable. Belichick, I think, got worse in two ways over the last decade. One, his evaluation of offensive talent and where the league was going offensively clearly deteriorated. Mm-hmm. And two, Michael Holley, I think, did Michael Holley write the Great Patriots book? Yep. Okay. In that book, Belichick talks about how he wants to always have people around him that challenge him, that push back, that tell him when he thinks he's wrong. And it's pretty clear he lost that to a degree. Nora Princiotti made this point, and it's a smart one, which is when all the people left, the brain drain catches up to you, right, and it's your people who learn football from you, that's going to hurt you. I don't think he's not a brilliant football mind. I don't think he's not a brilliant, sorry for the double negatives. I think he's still a brilliant leader. I think so many teams would benefit from having him, and maybe he'll benefit from the year off. But yeah, I think he could coach the Cowboys.
Brew, do you think the chaos around the Cowboys, less chaos, the show of the Dallas Cowboys versus the quiet and the focus on football in New England, do you think Bill will have to go in and say, hey, it needs to be this way? Or Bill's going to be like, you know what? There's a carnival outside, but I'm in here coaching football.
I would love it if he did go do the first, when you said, like, if he went in and said, look, this is the culture I want. And, are you going to do that to the owner and say, I don't want you speaking every week or after every game?
You want to win a Super Bowl?
That's what Belichick should say. And he shouldn't be so desperate for a job that he's just going to tell you what you want to hear. But, yeah, he should say he knows how to win. Mm-hmm. And so I don't need the coach talking or the owner talking after every game. Let me do that. that. I love him in Buffalo. I mean, look, you think Kraft and a lot of others think Kraft betrayed him. Yeah. We think maybe he was just being honest with a good friend. Whatever the case, Belichick can't like it. And what better way to get back at Kraft and the Patriots than going to Buffalo? Everything is in order. The defense is already pretty good. We know he'll take care of the defense. Offensive.
This is where, though, this is kind of absurd to me because it says Belichick interested in Cowboys. Belichick hopes an opening in the Northeast. Northeast team has an opening. So it seems like these reports are all over the place.
You got Josh Allen? Come on. And he knows how to beat Mahomes. I mean, in fairness, he's beating him.
He knows how to beat the Jets. He knows how to beat the Patriots.
By the way, I think I'm not, because of these Kraft comments, and I reread the article, Kraft went out of his way also to call the Washington owner to give him a heads up about Bill. He made 2 phone calls to the Arthur Blank. Like, in case I didn't make it clear on the first one or in the documentary when I called him a pain in the ass. Don't hire this guy.
He's a pain.
I'll get to Robert Kraft later. I can't believe the betrayal. I put back on the board the Jets. I think they're back on the board.
Belichick with the Jets.
He hates.
Okay, what do they don't have the pieces. Now again, if Buffalo doesn't offer him a job.
Yeah, hold on. What do you mean they don't have the pieces? The Jets, you think the Jets have all the pieces?
Well, now
I'm saying in a year. The Jets have all the pieces.
We'll see what Rodgers is in a year.
And by the way, you mentioned only going to Dallas if Dak is there. I think Dak could be a free agent in a lot of places next year potentially. But yes, I think he's going to want to humiliate the Patriots. And I think the best place to do it is obviously the AFC East. Miami, I don't think is changing their coach. He's not going back to the Patriots, obviously, to humiliate them. That doesn't make sense. So there's only a couple teams there. And when he says Northeast, everyone's going to attach him to the Giants. I understand that. But also, and they don't have the offensive talent. And Dable is one of his guys.
But it did get mentioned in the article, which I thought was odd.
I thought it was odd as well. But also, they don't. I wouldn't recommend that spot for him because he'd be in a similar spot as the Patriots, where, you know what I mean, you're either with a young quarterback or an unproven or a bad quarterback, whatever it is. Yes, I think this is on the board. I still believe that the Bills, Eagles, and Cowboys all made a mistake by not firing their coach and hiring Bill Belichick. Me, as a Chiefs fan, believe it or not, I know I hide that on the show, impartial journalist, would I have been a little bummed out if the Buffalo Bills had hired Bill Belichick this offseason? Yeah. Would I be bummed out if they hired him next offseason? Yeah. That means...
Yeah, but the big key thing is that's because Sean McDermott isn't a good head coach. And so you're definitely, if you're going to have a defensive head coach, and it's not like, I'm not saying that he's trash because he's gotten that defense pretty good and he kind of righted that culture, although let's be clear here, Josh Allen had a tremendous part of that. So, I mean, I don't want to say give zero respect to Sean McDermott, but that would still be an elevation. And Josh Allen is already not getting a good offensive head coach. So it's one of those things where you're not taking away. And like I said before, I think when a defensive head coach can improve a quarterback is by helping them understand defenses better and by helping them, minimize some mistakes. So it all depends on what the strengths and weaknesses of a quarterback is. And that's why I said with Dak, I don't think Dak's weaknesses is him making key mistakes. Of course, he's a quarterback, so they all make mistakes, right? And obviously, if you minimize mistakes, you're going to improve. But to me, that's not the missing link in Dak's game. Everyone talks about the turnovers and the fumbles and the interceptions, which I denounce anyway for Josh Allen, but that's what they always say is what's holding Josh Allen back. And that's also what really makes Patrick Mahomes so great as well, is that he minimizes those situations, especially in key moments in the games. So that is why I could see a Belichick elevating a Josh Allen as well as now taking care of the defense, but not having such a great impact on, say, Dak. The Eagles is an interesting one because Sirianni is technically an offensive mind, but he doesn't he doesn't call the plays. He doesn't design the offense. No one really actually knows what he does. There's kind of some confusion around Philadelphia in terms of what does Sirianni do. And when Sirianni was the play caller, the Eagles were not good. When he handed over the play calling to Nick Sirianni, the Eagles instantly got good. So that's why I would say that would probably be a benefit to get Bill Belichick in Philadelphia. Because then the defense would be legit, right? I do trust Bill as a defensive head coach. And the defense is something that needed to be elevated within Philadelphia. So there's no disputing that. But again, the question is, though, then you have Jalen Hurts. And I think since, again, Jalen has a lot of abilities, though, I wouldn't say last season there was two kind of drawbacks to Jalen Hurts' not great season. There's a few things that happened in Jalen Hurts' not great season last season. One was injury. Two was definitely the OC, the way how the offense was just designed. No players were ever open. There was no easy throws for Jalen Hurts whatsoever, as well as some mistakes that Jalen was making. Some missed reads that I question. One, I know with his health, okay, let's just check that off. Let's say he's healthier. So great. We know he's going to be better. And then let's say B, now you actually have a better OC and a better play caller. So now players will be more open. And so then the question is can Belichick elevate Jalen Hurts? When Jalen Hurts played his best season, his MVP caliber season, was making mistakes what held Jalen Hurts back? I would argue no. I don't, again, all quarterbacks are going to throw interceptions, fumbles, and have those things. But I don't think you could go back in the year that they went to the Super Bowl and say Jalen Hurts making too many mistakes and that's what's holding them back. And so I'm not so sure that Bill Belichick elevates him in that regard. But I don't know. I'm really just thinking out loud and in real time. It's not something that I've thought incredibly deeply about, but something that I'm just working through because it is, Belichick does still have that, that draw because he is the Bill Belichick. But the last point that I want to say is, which is going to completely undercut what I just said, is that I don't know if Bill Belichick has that to other players. I don't know if Bill Belichick commands that level of unconditional respect and is revered like he once was. I think especially maybe some of these younger players, the players who are, in their early 20s and, they don't look at Bill Belichick as this legend, as this god, as this everything. If anything, they're looking at Andy Reid now as that. Even Tom Brady's not their guy. It's Patrick Mahomes. They're not looking at that. They're not saying, oh my God, the best wide receiver was Jerry Rice and T.O. They're like, look at A.B. It's just, it's such a generational thing. And we all have short-term memories. So I just think that potentially that if you bring him into an organization outside of a mature organization that's already, a little bit older, who truly knows and respects Bill Belichick, I think it would be harder. So if you are going to a new team where you have to really draft a lot of new players and have a whole new thing, I don't know if he commands that same level of respect. I'm just not so sure. Once upon a time he did, but right now, considering he got fired, there's all these leaks about him, being untrust, you can't trust him, all this type of stuff. I just don't know if he commands that respect. I really, really don't. I'm sure he would still command some respect, but not the same level of respect and reverence that he had, say, in 2017, making up a year, I'm just not so sure. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to see yours. Do you think Bill Belichick should coach with the Dallas Cowboys, Buffalo Bills, Eagles, anywhere else? Do you think he'll ever coach again? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. Thank you so much, and see you next time.